Happy Critique Me Not, you guys! Here we have another piece of art that says Merry Christmas on it, and it's Lulu from Final Fantasy X. Yay! So here we've got a drawing I did when I was 12, and it's a very special drawing indeed. And we can see that there's a lot of issues with it, and I'm going to critique them and show you a better way, and hopefully you'll learn something from it. So hold on tight and enjoy the show. Here we have her with her pizza face syndrome. That was common for me at that age, to draw them with lack of forehead. And I forgot to draw her ears in this picture, so I added them. And we can see here Lulu has quite some hair and quite a forehead, and it's definitely missing here. She's definitely got her like eyebrows being pulled back in those braids, and that just makes me feel uncomfortable. Yeah, it hurts. So you can see that Lulu's got a chest here too, and you can see that that's lacking also. It was kind of awkward for me, and I don't know what that thing is, but it looks like a gingerbread bear. I don't know. Actually it's her Moogle. And so we're gonna go over here and redraw her face, and you can see me start to block out the shape. We've got more of a jaw here than like with Riku, and she's got one eye covered and kind of a longer nose. And you can see I started off drawing the eye that's going to be covered up. Well, guess what? All of you insecure eye drawing people, just because you give someone bangs doesn't mean you can't draw the other eye. It's actually really important to make sure that it lines up anatomically. I think that's the right word. If it's not, I'm sorry. So it's important to draw everything out, even if you're going to cover it up. It'll help you flesh out the drawing more. And we've got this stick figure drawing, okay, and we're gonna build off of it. And right now I'm kind of thinking what I want her arms to do and how she should be standing in the pose, because we want it to be interactive, right? We don't want it to just be like, oh, stiff, ooh, standing there. Standing, right? It's a portrait. It should feel comfortable, it should be engaging. So I'm trying to analyze, you know, what would be a natural pose. So I've got my idea, and I'm gonna draw her kind of like hugging her bear with both arms. And that would require maybe her shoulders to come up a little bit, because she's kind of maybe squeezing it to her chest. So we can see that I'm gonna add more details to the face here and her hair. I'm looking at the hair silhouette. It's a bit more cylindrical than round. I finished using her eye, so I erased it. And then I'm adding a little bit more detail to her eye to show that she's got a lot of makeup on. Now I'm gonna go fill out the rest of her. I'm drawing the Moogle here. And you can see it's a really cute chubby creature, and yeah, Lulu always carries like a teddy bear or like stuffed animal creature, which is kind of weird because you always see her characters this like dark, kind of mature, sexy woman, and then she's got dolls and you're like, creepy, but that's kind of in her character trait anyway. But she's actually quite a sweet character. She's cold, but she's not creepy. And then so I've kind of like moved her arms around the bear, or the Moogle, and then I'm fleshing out the Moogle now so we can see what shapes are within the Moogle itself. They're really cute. I don't think I've really drawn one in a long time. Their usual statement is like, Kupo, Kupo, Kupo. I have no idea what that means, but apparently that's all they can say, and you just have to figure it out. So we can see there's big changes in this portrait, and that's great. That's wonderful to see that I've improved that much, but it's a really more natural pose, and the cropping is a bit more at a portrait kind of crop. Alright, there's a Christmas dress, and then there's Lulu's actual dress, and you can see that the Christmas dress and Lulu's dress is very similar, which I lucked out on. That way when we Christmasify her, her silhouette will be very similar to what it already is. Alright, so I'm going to go in and ink. At first I was going to line it in purple and then ink, but I decided I'll just go straight in. I'm switching my brushes up. Yeah. And then we're going in for the nose and the lips. Working the interior detail. Not always the best way to go, but since again I've already blocked out her anatomy, I feel pretty comfortable with doing some detail. And then it's interesting to watch how I do her eyes, because she actually has a lot of makeup, but because I'm using just black and white, we don't want to overdo it. So it's working. Work it out. There. Sometimes the eyes you gotta do it just right. If you make it too droopy, they look like they're about to fall asleep. If you have it too engaged, they look like they're gonna kill you with their stare. All sorts of things. So I'm adding like some highlights to the eye, and then I'm going in and doing that eyebrow arc. It's very telling of a character. Working on her jaw, and it's okay if you can't get it in one stroke, but yeah, for all of you guys who are really uncomfortable with drawing, it's okay if you have to make a stroke again and redraw it, clean it up. It just takes practice to get that clean stroke, but it's definitely better to do it in one stroke than in 5. You don't want a choppy edge. Alright, and now I'm going to block out her hair, just so that I can see where it falls and what are the waves like. But I'm actually going to spot black her hair this time because we're just using black and white. And I want to make sure the waves make sense. So I'm sketching out her hair and the waves in it and the flyaways and stuff so that I can see where those are going to be before I spot black them. Right now the picture looks really flat because all the lines are like the same width, but once I add the spot black, it's going to add a lot more like variety to the picture and it'll feel much more graphic. So I'm adding a lot of like S curves in her hair, and that just makes it more appealing. And so textured hair is definitely underrated, I think. Sometimes we are drawn to giving characters just like straight hair, but add some texture. Yo. There's her earring peeking out. Can't really see her ears. And then she's got these braids that come back into the bun. And then her bun is actually kind of more cylindrical, which surprises me, but whatever. My hair's, when I braid my hair into a bun, it just disappears. It's too thin. So we've got our shoulders coming up a little bit, and I'm gonna go through and spot black. And I realized as I was spot blocking, it was like the edge of the brush was kind of fuzzy, and I didn't like that at all. And I was kind of like, what did I do? This brush isn't supposed to do that. Well, I used another brush that had a particular flow setting, and it was at 50%. So you'll see me change it eventually back to 100% flow, and that gives it a more crisp edge in this case. It does different stuff for every brush, but with my more textured brushes, it ensures that there's like a cool texture to it. I'm not looking for that with this brush. I'm looking for crisp edges because I'm inking. So I'm filling in the hair. And yeah, just look at how much different her face looks now that I put that bold black hair. I'm gonna go through with tool. I'm looking at her nose right now, and I think it's a little too long, so I'm gonna bring it up, straight up. And I think, do I clean up the line? Yeah, just clean up the line a little bit, and then there. No need to redraw that nose. So now I'm adding her flyaways, and this is gonna give her hair just a bit more of like less blocky feeling and a more free-formed feeling. And I'm still just trying to keep with the S curves with it. And just adds more kind of looseness to her hair. And Lulu is definitely kind of a loose character, I guess. Like, she's uptight, I guess. I don't know, she's cold. But having her hair loose, her dress is loose, everything's loose. She's just got a really chill kind of personality. Unless you start asking her about, like, her ex-fiance. Things get pretty serious then. And then, yeah, we're gonna focus on the bottom part of her dress. So the sleeves fall a little differently. They actually look a bit more form-fitting in this dress, so I wanted them to come up. In her other dress, they're kind of just hanging there in a gravity-defying way, and I wanted to just make it look a bit more secure. And then, you don't really see her chest because of the Moogle, so I'm just trying to give the illusion that there is shape behind her. We don't want her to look like she's flat-chested and she's hiding it with the Moogle, but we're not going to draw like any cleavage or anything because the Moogle is already covering that. And then here we've got Kupo doing his little thing. When I was a kid playing like Kingdom Hearts, I think that's where the Moogle talks the most, and he always said like Kupo, Kupo, and I thought that was like his name. And now I'm not quite sure. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just Moogle. And then, yeah, so we're going to clean up the Moogle's face because I overlapped some of the lines. And I'm going to adjust some of her fur and her shoulders, kind of clean up those lines. And her collarbone is nice to have. Yeah, clean up fur. Notice how her shoulder too, like, the collarbone connects with that shoulder, That's a really key like line that helps give dimension to Moogle's all happy. Gives dimension to the character. And yeah, so we've got this fun looking dress, and we're not going to see pretty much any of it, so I'm just going to fill in the rest of the Moogle. And his little fuzzy poof chest. Choo-choo, he's so proud. And then, yeah, this is actually like a real life Moogle. Like sometimes in the games, like Lulu in the reference picture is holding like her doll, but there's actually like live ones running around doing stuff. So this is like a live Moogle, it's not a doll Moogle. And I scrolled down and you can see that the picture actually doesn't crop at her elbow, it's under her elbow, and that makes a big difference in where you crop. And here we go, I'm going to round out his hands so that they're a little bit more soft and character-like, but I don't want them to tangent with the edge of her dress. And we're going to add some spot blacks here to help show the depth of her dress and how it can look like there's more behind the Moogle than what we see. So just adding a little bit of that spot black really makes a difference. And then we're adding in some texture to her fur so that it's not just the edges but in the body of it itself. I'm looking at his cheeks and feeling pretty good about this picture. So we're going to go back to the hairpins, and you'll see that I'm referencing the hairpins so that they actually look more unique and then not just like chopsticks with little stickers on the end. And I added I'm changing them up though to be more Christmassy, so I'm kind of trying to, they're cheesy but they're, you know, classic symbols of Christmas. So I've got a snowflake, and then I'm gonna do a star here, and that edge is really awkward the way it's attaching, and I'll change that later. And this is one of those bedangly ones. Add some gravity to the hairpins there. And just notice that I'm giving it variation, because sometimes when you're, you know, doing a design, you can get really lazy and just add the same kind of hairpin or something. And, you know, adding variety makes it so much more interesting and adds more character and just engages the viewer more because they're going to have more to look at. They can be too detailed though, so don't go crazy unless that's the point, because there are some designs out there where it's called like, I don't know what it's called, but you put a ton of pins in your hair. It's crazy. Just be intentional with it. And here I was gonna make like a Christmas ornament, but then I thought maybe I should make it a Christmas, like a light bulb, and so I made a Christmas light. And I don't know if it looks like a Christmas light, but I think if I added color it would make more sense. And then I'm gonna move this because I don't like how the star's attached, and I fixed it. And I'm gonna look over the character. Oh, I'm gonna make the Christmas tree bigger because it's too tiny and insignificant. So I want it to be, you know, like that's a Christmas tree, not, oh, what is that? So I'm adding some decoration, a star to the top, and I'm done. Kind of looks like a cookie. Alright, so we can see the sketch layer definitely added help to that, but it's not exactly the same. And then there's the original. Definitely needed some assistance. Definitely lacking in some ways. She's definitely more stiffer now looking back. Her head is just a mess, and her hair is like a triangle patch more than it's like a flip or a bang. And this is kind of how she stands in the game, and you can see in her reference picture that's how she stands, but it's very different than this new one. Much more natural pose, much more engaging, and I think again expresses more of Lulu's character. I don't really see her celebrating Christmas and liking it, but I don't know. Maybe she's happy. Maybe she's looking at somebody special. I don't know. And I think it's cute to have the Moogle there, you know, yay! He actually adds something to the story. And you can see here Lulu usually holds her bear with one hand, but just having her embrace the Moogle with two just gives her a bit more of a portrait-like pose. I'm gonna add her beauty mark, I forgot about that. And then I'm gonna add a necklace because I felt like the necklace was a lot of her design. Like, I don't know, she always has like necklaces and belts, so I at least could add a necklace or two. And yeah, so you can see changes have happened over the last Oh gosh, I don't want to know. What's 12 minus 24? Alright, I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye!